then start. So everyone, we're going to make a visual novel with Ren'Py. Prelude. The speaker, Mr. Valdez, is a person that doesn't exist. At least not in this universe. This is the only time Sony Valdez would acknowledge that none of the following bio is real. Mr. Valdez is a luchador in a universe that is like our own. While luchadors are known for physical wrestling, Mr. Valdez came from a world where they perform as programmers. Having accidentally transported in this world by a strange Python program, Mr. Valdez hopes to return one day to his reality. In the meantime, he spends his time sharing secrets from his universe. And by complete coincidence, that knowledge is also applicable in this universe. Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Valdez and I'm here to teach you all how to make a simple visual novel with Ren'Py. Thank you. And as mentioned earlier, I am a gamer, a programmer, and I swear I am mostly harmless. I teach Python, and I'm one of the founders of PyCon Philippines. I've used Ren'Py to teach simple programming, and for non-programmers, they also learn how to do project management. In this workshop, I will teach you all how to make a simple visual novel game. That is why I ask everyone if they can download Ren'Py, because everybody's going to make their own game. And if we have time for later, maybe you can go here and present your own game. Limitations. Ren'Py has a lot of features. We will not be using live 2D animation system, the movie playback, and audio system. But if you want to learn more, that is easily found online on their documentation. For those who do not have Ren'Py installed, you can download it from this URL. So, what are visual novels? These are games focused on stories with multiple branching plots. Most of the gameplay is literally reading a novel, hence visual novel. But some expensive and high production visual novels have voice acting and animation. As a matter of fact, some popular visual novels has become an anime. There are a lot of story genres, such as romance, action, mystery, horror, and so on. I chose these four because these are my favorite genres. And of course, some visual novels even combine different game genres and even different gameplays. When you download Ren'Py, it will come with a free visual novel. It's this one. It's called The Question. And we can just launch this and it would be a game, which I need the audio for. Just imagine that the audio would come out perfectly. It's only when I hear the sound of shuffling feet and supplies before being put away that I realize that the lecture is over. Professor Eileen's lectures are usually interesting, but today I couldn't concentrate. I have too many questions on my mind. It's a question, and it's the title, the question, that I've been meaning to ask a certain someone. I need two volunteers please to be the male and female character. Yes. I will be the narrator. Did I mention earlier that some visual novels has voice acting? Well, we can do the next best thing. Pretend that there's a acting. When we came out of the university, I spotted her right away. You're the voice. That's your narrator.
I've known Sylvie since we were kids. She's got a big heart and she's always been a good friend to me. But recently, I felt that I want something more. More than just talking, more than just walking home together when our classes end. As soon as she catches my eye, I decide.
I asked the audience. What do we do? Ask her right away or ask her later? Right away! Ah, majority. Yes, yes, yes. Be prepared.
Hi there, how was class?
Good. I can't bring myself to admit that it all went in one ear and out the other. Are you going home now? Want to walk back with me?
Sure.
After a short while, we reached the meadows just outside the neighborhood where we both live. It's a scenic view I've grown used to. Autumn is especially beautiful here. When we were children, we played in these meadows a lot, so they're full of memories. Hey, She turns to me and smiles. She looks so welcoming that I feel my nervousness melt away. I'll ask her. Um, will you will you be my artist for a visual novel? Silent. She looks so shocked that I begin to fear the worst. But then
Sure, but what's a visual novel?
Any choice from the audience? It's an interactive book. All right.
it's like an interactive book that you can read on a computer or a console.
Interactive?
You can make choices that lead into different events and endings in the story.
So, where does the visual part come in?
Visual novels have pictures and even music, sound effects, and sometimes voice acting to go along with the text.
I see, that certainly sounds like fun. I actually used to make webcomics way back when, so I have got a lots of story ideas.
That's great. So, would you be interested in working with me as an artist?
I'd love to.
And so, we become a visual novel creating duo. Over the years, we make lots of games and have a lot of fun making them. Our first game is based on one of Sylvie's ideas, but afterwards, I get to come up with stories of my own, too. We take turns in coming up with stories and characters and support each other to make some great games. And one day,
Hey,
She's a little bit older now.
yes,
will you marry me?
What? Where did this come from?
Come on, how long have we been dating?
A while.
These last few years, we've been making visual novels together, spending time together, helping each other. I've gotten to know you and care about you better than anyone else, and I think the same page goes for you.
Sylvie,
But I know you're the indecisive type. If I held back, who knows when you'd propose? So, will you marry me?
of course I will. I've actually been meaning to propose, honest.
I know.
I guess I was too worried about timing. I wanted to ask the right question at the right time.
You worry too much. If only this were a visual novel and I could pick an option to give you more courage.
Hint, hint. Some visual novels will give you hints on alternate paths.
We get married shortly after that. Our visual novel duo lives on even after we're married, and I try my best to be more decisive. Together, we live happily ever after, even now. Good ending.
Thank you very much for that. I have a mic here. So, one of the things that is common in visual novels are, I then turn off the music. If you're going to do a set-on playthrough, and it's that tiresome to always press the spacebar button or the down button to go to the next path. Instead, you can hold the control button or the alt button, depending on the game, to go to the next path. what you already have read would be skipped, which Ren'Py automatically does. And we then choose from here. So another thing that Ren'Py or visual novels supports is saving. We can save and we can load. This comes free with Ren'Py. We can also check the history of what was said just in case you need more hints or you want to replay what happened. And since we're in Ren'Py debug mode. I launch this game via this launcher. I then press Shift D. Pressing Shift D opens up the developer menu. And from here, we then reload, change things like an interactive director. So I can say, hey, I want to show the Selby Green. Um, show that at the right. Why is it not working? Uh, right click. Okay, that's strange. I should be able to change this now. All right, fail. I swear that works last time I tested this. I guess that's what happens when you forget the documentation. Yes. We also have image location pickers. We can also look at the attributes of the images. So, Selby Green, I should have been able to change that earlier with the interactive director. And so on and so on. One of the great things about the question visual novel is you get to see the source code. Here, edit files, click on script, and I had Visual Studio Code installed. It would show the source code for the game question. So if you want to make a game that's like the question, you then just look here and see everything. In Ren'Py, we have variable booleans, also known as flags, and this is how you declare them. We'll go over that later. And there are some if statements here, such as this one, that gives additional flavor to a visual novel. So let's say you pick up a book earlier in the route, and you can use that. You can check if the player has the route with them during that time. Of course, the save and load functionality works for this. I said earlier that there are a lot of visual novels. I will give 8 examples. Steins Gate is a mystery story that has been adapted into anime. Oh, you can't read very well. That's fine. It's just about strawberry. Long Live the Queen is a simulation game in which you're trying to raise a princess to become the next queen. And because this is a comedy horror game, the princess keeps dying. Like this, the total is 38 while poison. Bad ending. The Yog is a 1 hour, 1 to 4 players RPG game about the world just ending. Phoenix Wright is a courtroom drama, puzzle drama, that is originally came out the Game Boy Advance and now is on the Switch and PC. Persona 4 is a dungeon RPG with visual novel elements. Melty Blood is a shonen visual novel combined with a fighting game. This is traded here in the Philippines. It's called The Letter, and it's a horror game. So if this is not for you, well, it's not for you. But man, is this so much drama for a horror game? It's so Filipino drama with horror. And the most popular one so far, and I can see some people in the audience are actually nodding their head and giving themselves facepalm, is Dotty Dotty Literature Club. Warning, this game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. And those who knows. Now, let's go back. What is Ren'Py? Ren'Py is a game engine built on top of Pygame and Python and used to make visual novels. It is designed to be usable by non-programmers, and you can output it to Windows, Macintosh, iOS, Android, HTML5, and Linux. You can even uh, port to PlayStation, as shown by um, Dotty Dotty Literature. It is still under active development. If you have Python knowledge, you can actually go underneath the hood and use Python code to add to your visual novel, such as adding new gameplay, like an RPG if you want, or mini games, whatever you want. I've seen some visual novels that uses requests to connect to an API online to get some data. It was real funny. Now, let's learn Ren'Py. Just a check. Raise your hand if you have installed Ren'Py. All right, everybody has installed Ren'Py. We can now all start working. This is a workshop. I want everybody to create a game by the end of this workshop. First thing you're going to do is click on Create New Project, and then click on Continue. For the name of the project, just enter Python 2024. Press Continue. We tend to select the resolution, but for simplicity, let's just go for 1920 by 1080. Once you get better in visual novel creation, you can choose the correct aspect ratio that your game would prefer. The next one would be accent and background colors. We're just gonna use the default. After pressing the continue button, Ren'Py would now create your project. This part usually takes a while, but it's fine. Now, you should see Python 2024 on the left side of your projects. Now, if you look over here, you have game and base. Click on game. This is the source code of your program. And if you're going to copy or put this in a repository, version control, this is what you add. Going back here and click on script.rpy. Sorry, I'm just gonna fix this because I already set it up for myself. So, by default, if you click on option.rpy, I already set myself up. um, if you click on script.rpy, if you're on Windows, I'm sorry for the Mac users, this would appear. And you can choose your text editor. If your text editor, for example, is Notepad 2, just click on it, and this is your source code. If you have Visual Studio Code installed, you then go to Preferences, click on General, Text Editor, and Visual Studio Code is over here. Just select System. So if we open the scripts.rpy, it instead open at the Visual Studio Code. Heads up, the Visual Studio Code has a Ren'Py extension. So you can download that to have LinkedIn so that you would see the link Now, this is what I want everyone to do on your script. Remove everything. We're starting from scratch. Type in label start, and the very famous, as tradition has dictate, we must utter the first lines when you're starting your programming journey. It's tradition. Hello world. After typing this in, go back here and launch the project. Python 2024, and click on start. Hello world. Quick and easy. If you press spacebar, you exit because that's the last part of that's the end of the game. Now, going back here, and type in your name. Hello world, I am your name. Nice to meet you. What? You all think a visual novel game doesn't have puns? Well, you're in the wrong room if you that hurt two puns. Let's go back here. Once you click on start, it says hello world. If you press, I forgot to save. Amazing. Huh? There we go. I don't know why, but apparently turning off and on that game fixes the issue. I am Mr. Valdez. Press spacebar, and nice to meet you. This is a bug. I know it's a pun, but for the purpose of this workshop, this is a bug. Let's go back to the code and change this to meet. Once you save this, Ren'Py detects the changes. Why did it not detect the changes? What the? Oh, give me a sec. Something's not right. I was joking earlier, but this should automatically change. Yeah, but once you save, it should automatically changes. I mean, that's one of the things that I like about Ren'Py. Does it change on your ends? Doesn't change. Well, I've never had a workshop that nothing goes wrong. Apparently, it's done wrong. That is very odd. Give me a second. I'm just going to go to the question, and I'm just going to do a tweet check. Does it changes? It doesn't change on your ends, right? Wow. I swear this was working an hour ago. It's so strange. Wonder why. I know. I'm just trying to restart when. Oh, that's not enough help. Okay, let's just do it manually. Once you change this, press Shift R. Shift R is the manual reload. Normally, this would be done automatically when Ren'Py detects that you have modified your file. But hey, manual works. All right, going back. This embodied voice is what we usually call the narrator. Now, some visual novel, or rather most visual novel games are in the first person. or has a narrator. That's why we have something like this as default. What if we want our character to speak for us? Put in your name here on the left side. So it's a string, and then the line of text that your character is going to say. Once you reload, you can see your character actually talking. Okay, just a check. Does it happen to everyone? Okay, we're all good. Now, everybody would be seeing a flow here. Because we're all programmers. They see a problem. Does that mean that we're going to keep on putting our character's name every time? That's tedious. And what if we want to change the character's name, which happens a lot? Does that mean that we're going to change every instant of the name? That would change the dialogue itself. So that is a problem. But we are programmers. We have special powers. Programmers know how to use variables. Sorry, that's defined. So if you reload, it should be I'm sorry, it's equal, not us. Well, somebody has mixed the programming language up. Anyways, this should work. Now, by default, this is the color, and you can change the color through the configuration. In the interest of time, I'm not talk about that, but just be aware that you can change the color of your character. So you can have a character that is blue, and another character as red, and so on, and gives a distinctive feel. Now, going over here and type in show Mr. Valdez happy. Oh, sorry, so your name happy. This is how we add images to a visual novel. Once you run this, starting from hello world, and there is your character happy. Yeah, it's obvious I'm a horror fan and I did it this way just to introduce a little bit of horror. This is the default image or what is it called? Paper doll for your character. The idea here is if you are working on the script and your artist is not yet ready, the artist would not be your blocker in developing a game. You, as the scripter or the programmer, then make the game while you wait for your art to come in. So the syntax is show the character and say happy. Optionally, you may say at and then a location. For this example, I will say at left. Once you run this, you can see, oh, come on. Now it shows auto reload. Amazing. Wow. See, it auto reloaded. I don't know what happened. It's a mystery. So you've all noticed that the character has been moved to the left. At and the position is optional, but you probably want to use this. There are a lot of locations that you can put your character, and it's called translation. And I can't believe that I did not load this earlier. Anyways, this is the manual, and it's amazing. Everything you need to know is here. And under translation, you can see that you have, there we go, at left. What? Where is it? No, not translation. Trans. Uh, sorry, translation is if you want to translate your game into different languages like English, Filipino, or even Japanese. Uh, that's not what I need. It's not transition. I'm supposed to be looking at transform also. There we go, transform. I was thinking of transform. Sorry, too many T. So we have center, left, off screen right, right, top, top left, and through center, and so on. You can also define your own position, which I will not go through in the interest of time, but it's possible for you to do that. Now under here, type in, show your character surprise at through center. So what does this look like? Reload. So I am Mr. Valdez, and notice that the character went to the center. Ren'Py knows that you're talking about the character Mr. Valdez. That's why it, it did not add a new character here. Instead, it shifted the character that was on the left to the center. Ren'Py knows that you're referring to the same character, same image, and you just want to change their emotion or state of mind. Let's go back here, and here, put in with move. Afterward, please reset and see what happened. The output here would be, there's your character, and it will move to the center. Ren'Py has something called transitions. With transition, you can do simple animation. In this example, I did a move, which is this one, takes 0.5 seconds. Or you can use ease to make it smoother, to make the animation smoother. There's a lot of transitions here, and you can also make your own. Let's go back here. And we need a villain. Well, that the villain a snake. So villain at right with Sorry, I need to remember the transition name. It's with slide up. Sorry, let me just run this just to be sure that I did it correctly. Um, oh no, I got the wrong one. Sorry, it's not slide. I'm supposed to get something else. It was move in bottom. I will explain why this is completely different later. There we go. All right, move in bottom and not slide. I will explain slide in a bit. Okay, then somebody in the audience tell me what happened with this show villain at the right with move in bottom. Yeah, so the villain popped up from below the drown and said, boo. Just like this. Move to the center and then pop up, boo. Then I'm pretty sure everybody then already imagined all the possible story elements, story bits that you can do. Now, this is kind of boring. We need a background. We're going to go back here at the top and type in scene, BG, and I think I will put in middle. Save and restart. So what would happen here? We would have a background, and the background is called middle. Remember earlier when I said, if you do not have the image, Ren'Py would show a default. For background, shown by the letters BG, is going to be just a gray space. I need you all to go to the question and click on images. Here on images, we have BG middle. Copy this one, and then go back to your Python 24, images, and paste BG middle in this directory. I'll repeat. From the question, go to the images, and copy BG middle to your images on the project that we are developing. Once we reload, this would appear. It's not as clean as it looks. Well then, there's a very easy solution to this. Do you all remember what resolution you put in? It was 1920 by 1024. This is what they're going to do. Right-click, open with paint, and we're going to make it bigger. That's right. One of the tricks is to change the resolution of the background. Now, the funny thing is, there's actually a dramatic way of zooming this background. But in the interest of time, we only have, how much longer do we have? We have less than 50 minutes, so I want everybody to at least be able to make the game. So I'm not going to discuss how to manipulate images dramatically. But we're just gonna explode this. I forgot what is string resolution we put in. What am I doing? There's an option button here. Preferences, and down here. There we go. So the height is 1920 by 1920 by 1080. And I just realized that 1920 by 1080. I mentioned earlier that the default was given, which means you have access to the configuration and change the default to something that you would need. Anyways, we're using 1920 by 1080. This size. Save. And by like magic, like magic, it's been fixed. I know we're programmers and it doesn't feel nice to be done programmatically. But we do not have time, and the enemy of done is perfection. There we go. So we have our character, and it feels more like a visual novel now. Let's change this. We're gonna change the characters, or rather, we're going to change the image so we would have a character. You can use these images from the question, or if you have images, a picture of yourself, you can use that. Or if you have prepared for a presentation, you have images ready. I have prepared myself for a presentation and I had my sister draw some images. Going back here, we have Mr. Valdez. So Mr. Valdez was happy. And the other one is Mr. Valdez surprise with a D. Copy this. And if I paste it over here, we would have, I haven't reloaded. Oh, that's because I forgot to change the other one. Okay, reload. And there he is. And go to the center, nice to meet you. And then pop, the villain comes up. What does the villain look like? Well, I'm just going to do it like this. The source is villain. There we go, there's the snake. Yeah, I know. The name of the dog is Snake. It's now obvious that I did not prepare this as well as I thought, because I completely forgotten that I had a dog, not a snake. Going back here, let's dissect. Scene, BG, middle, this refers to the background image. And it's a 1:1, BG space middle. That's the file name. You can use any names if you want, but in Ren'Py, the best practice is if you're using it as a background, use BG. And then for your character, this is the name of your character, space, and the state of the character, either happy, sad, surprised, and so on. With, Sorry if you all don't read that very well. This says Mr. Valdez surprised, Mr. Valdez happy, and this is the villain. Now I know everybody do not have images because I wanted to surprise everyone. So let's use Sylvie as your villain, both young and old version. Go ahead, change your image to show Sylvie. Or if you have a picture of yourself prepared somehow, go ahead and use that. Ready? Yes. This, oh, right. That's it. Yes, question. Question so far from the audience. Yes. Yes. So it's Ren'Py's way of knowing which character you're manipulating. If I change this to something else, let's say spam, and I do this, spam is a completely different character from Mr. Valdez. And Ren'Py cannot see that it's supposed to be animated to the center. Yes. No, that's not it. This should have worked. Then I get back to you on that one. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Now I remember the answer. This doesn't work because the name of our image is Mr. Valdez. Yeah, I suddenly remembered the answer. so there we go. So it has to be, that's basically the file name. Consistency, that's be consistent. And we're not going to go on how to create a bid game, but if you're making a bid game, you're going to put it into different chapters. So it would be easier to maintain. Before I go on, are there any other questions? Let's continue. We're going to get a we're going to get a new scene. Though that the university um, did the university from the question. All right, I'm gonna put this down here. Seeing VG unit, yes. So in this example, we started at the middle, hello world. Then we show our character. Then we change to university. What does this look like? So if we look here, hello world, I press the space bar and, well, give me a sec. Hello. All right, so did the hack then and fits the resolution. Now, here's something that you all need to notice. Scene BG Meadow, we put a background of the meadow. Immediately after I am Mr. Valdez, we'd show a different scene. We move to a different location. And that is very jarring. Look at this. Hello world, I'm Mr. Valdez, and poof, you're in a different location. That is very jarring. This is not a PowerPoint presentation, so let's add something here. We're going to put in with fade. Oh, sorry, wrong location. Down here. So if we check, going back to the game, I am Mr. Valdez, and you can see it fade. You can see it fade away. And we go to another location, which explains the transition earlier. The transition I used earlier slide is used for the scene and not for images. So there are some transition that works on characters, images, or scene. We can change this to something else. Pixelated. I don't know how to spell pixelated. Pixelate, because it's completely wrong. There we go. So, you then use a different transition, such as pixelate, this one. If we take a look at what it looks like this. See that? It pixelates. And if you're a Python developer, you can go and create your own function to do a customized transition. Hey, I've also taught comments. Because of course, web programmers and comments are important to us. It's amazing it took me more than an hour to teach comments. All right. Before I continue, any questions so far? All right, so this is how you create a menu or the interactive part of a visual novel. You put in the syntax menu, the statement menu. You put in the dialogue, or rather the menu choice, colon, and jump to a label. Is that better? Was that better? Almost better. All right. All right, I will demonstrate this. So nice to meet you, the dog, and you get to choose if you're hungry or afraid. So in this example, let's say I want to do the hungry ending. I would click on I am hungry. It will say, poor doggo is hungry. I press the spacebar button and it shows up, poor doggo is afraid. Oh no. It means I am hungry, jump to this label, poor doggo is hungry, and the next label is still running. It means it just keeps moving forward, moving down. So how do we fix this? Return. Return allows us to exit. Let me demonstrate. I will choose I am hungry, poor doggo is hungry, press spacebar and we exit. Now, return is very good if we're ending the game. But what if we don't want to end the game yet? There's multiple ways of handling this. It depends on your preference. It's more on the project management side. You may create a new label and say credits designed by Tommy. And instead of returning, you can just jump to the credits. So that allows you to have a ending credit if you want. Or, sorry, I'm going to share this, so I should put this in. Or instead of doing it this way, we can go here and say jump credits. So what happened here? I am hungry, jump to the hungry ending, so we go down here. Hungry ending, poor doggo is hungry. As we known earlier, this would go to the next label, to the next line. This would be this part, which is a bug. I've shown earlier that if we want to exit, we then just use the return statement. But depending on the game you created, you might want to move to a different path or different label. You then use jump credits to jump to these credits over here. That's one way of handling multiple branching paths. The alternate is to put the jump credits after the menu. So instead of using jump, we're going to use call. So in Ren'Py, you can use either jump or call. Both has different usage, but they all go to a certain label. So if I try to run this, it would go call hungry ending, it will go here, and if you exit the label, it goes back up here, which allows us to continue the story. I will demonstrate. I am hungry. Poor doggo is hungry. What happened? That's not supposed to happen. Because I forgot to put in the return. So you need the return to go back to the top. If you did not use call and instead use jump, return would exit the game. Which one is better? That is completely up to the developers and your project managers and your boss and your boss boss and whoever's paying for the visual novel to be created. How many hours how many minutes do I have left? 20? 30, all right. Before I continue, any questions so far? All right, continuing. Let's go back up here. And what was that? Give this a try, please. That's right. After more than an hour and 30 minutes, it's now time for me to talk on how to put in variables from the user, which is supposed to be the second or third lesson in a Python programming class. Man, Ren'Py is strange. Okay, I will now run this program. Wait, I'm sorry. What is your name? I swear I'm a programmer. I swear. But it's hard to remember parameters. I swear I'm a good programmer and all the bugs are bugs and not forgetting parameters. Right. If we run this, it would ask for the user for their name. You then put in your name, uh, through name, and it would print out hello and then your name that you put in. So in Ren'Py, for those who knows Python fstring, this is basically fstring for Ren'Py. Instead of curly braces, you use brackets. Explanation. The $sign says this is a Python line. This is a Python code. So we're actually running Python and we assign the input to the name. Sorry, I forgot there we go. Is scaled. Is brave. Yep. So in this example, we're going to create a variable called, or what, since we're in Visual Novel calls these flags. For those who played Visual Novels, when you reach a certain point and you did something, it would trigger a flag that would be set to either true or false. For example, if you found the book, you get a different ending. So we're going to have a default is brave. And down here at the menu, I am not afraid if is brave. I'm not afraid. I'm just gonna run this. And you can see there's an I am not afraid menu choice over here. So if the character is not brave, this menu choice will not be shown to the player. Okay. Go ahead and copy before I go to the next part. I will share this source code later at the Discord. I will also upload this to my GitHub. All right. Are there any questions before I go to the last part? The last part that I'm going to show is one of my favorite transition, and it's with V-punch. So put in after the V-line boo with V-punch. This is what it looks like. Nice to meet you, boo. And did you see that? Nice to meet you. And there's a transition. There's a little bit of shock animation. In short, you don't actually need to put with as part of an image or as part of a scene. You can put that after a dialogue line. And once the user advances from here, the animation would play. Okay, and that's are the basis of Ren'Py. How many minutes do I have left? Oh, 20 minutes. That's plenty of time for everyone to make a game. Any question before I go to the next part? All right, going back here to the Ren'Py launcher. I know it's a workshop about Ren'Py, but I could have easily just chosen the tutorial. There's a tutorial in Ren'Py. And in the interest of time, I'm just gonna show the tutorial here on the screen. There we go. So as you can see, you can change the background. And we have Eileen over here. And everything that I just mentioned, she also talks about it, such as transitions, fade in, and print something out that you then copy and paste. Copy paste, the true superpowers of programmer, and not variables. She also talked on how to create your own transitions. And I will show, no, that's not what I want. Here, this is the transition gallery. And we can see a lot of different transitions that can be done. Different animation if you know how to copy paste the animation code over here. This also talks about video playback. So if, for example, you go to YouTube and download Rickroll, you can also show the user Rickroll. So here is the video image. No, I will not Rickroll anyone. So you can also play the video in full screen. Behind a character, in front of a character, there's to the left, to the right, you have complete control. I mentioned earlier that you can run Python code in Ren'Py. Here is an example. This is created with Python. It is running on Pygame. Um, there we go. C1. And ask to play the den. And this is the Python code. As you then all see, it's under Ren'Py and under a class. And well, that's more on the advanced part. But now you all know that you can do anything you want with Ren'Py as long as you know Python. With Dotty literature, there's a reason that Dotty literature became one of the more popular visual novel, is because it not abused, it made good use of Python underneath here. So that kind of animation done by Ren'Py, and so on and so on. I'm not going to spoil what they did with the programming there. Those who know knows. And the tutorial, you can see this source code, and you can actually reverse engineer how to create that tutorial. Let's go back to my presentation. It's now obvious. This presentation was built on Ren'Py. I've been using Ren'Py all day. Surprise. I will be sharing the source code later at Discord. And I hope that one day I would be able to play your games on a future PyCon. We still have time, so everybody can have the time to trade a game, show me, ask me question, and maybe, no, the lightning toss has already been full, so I was about to say maybe present there. Later, I'm going to post on my GitHub the source code. I will also put on the Discord. And my sister created the art, which you saw earlier. And for something completely different, I'm a big brother, and of course, I'm going to be a sellout and tell everyone that my little brother created a video game, not in Ren'Py, but that's because I'm a sellout. Please take a look at Goodnight Game. Any question before I let everybody make their own game? Any? All right. Yes, go ahead. Sorry, for the recording.
Hey. Okay. So I work for a big company and a traditional company. So I was thinking that since we need to build a data culture, we can use this game platform as a means to teach data literacy. But I think my question then would be, how can we uh, scale launch this game on other people's devices or yeah, maybe devices, laptops, without having to. Is it possible to launch it on their devices without having the Ren'Py software installed in their devices?
We can actually create a web. It will be exported as HTML5, and this is still in beta. Not everything is what's this called. Not everything is ready, but you then compile this when we tip run button. Okay, so I can build and open this in the browser. So let's give this a try. Because we sent, let's either using this. So the question is, made it easier to be installed in other devices. So HTML5, it's not that perfect. There's still some bugs here, but you can just put this as a URL. And now you have Ren'Py running on the browser. As you can see, it's not perfect. It's not as smooth as it's supposed to be, but it works. And yeah, so you can also, if you want to make it a little bit smoother, maybe compile to Android, iOS, and you then share the packages. Does that answer your question? Okay, any other questions, please? Okay, so we're good. Mr. Valdez is going to have to leave, and somebody is going to go and around and help you with your project for the next. How many minutes do we have left? 10 minutes. So somebody would go around here, and the next 10 minutes going to help you with your quick project. Are there any questions before Mr. Valdez has to leave? All right, so I'm going to call on Sony Valdez to go and teach everybody some Ren'Py. He knows what to do.
All right, thank you so much for that detailed lecture, Sir Sony.